Hi everyone, it's Charlotte Nguyen here, your personal meditation and emotional mastery coach and creator of Get Free. And welcome to the first video in this three-part series where you're going to learn how to begin cultivating an emotionally masterful life. So let's get right into it. Let's begin with what is emotional mastery. Emotional mastery is about you taking personal responsibility for your choices and where those choices lead you. Your choices include your thoughts, your words, your actions. It's about maturing out of the wounds that we have allowed to limit us and into forgiveness and acceptance. It's about transformation. When you begin relating to yourself and others with compassion, understanding, and clear, conscious communication consistently, your entire outer reality will shift and doors will open where there were once walls. We all have aspects of ourselves that hurt in some ways. Parts that we judge, parts that we feel aren't good enough, parts that simply just need love. And it's so easy when we stop waiting for somebody else to provide that love and step into it ourselves and offer that to the parts of ourselves that hurt. We are stepping into emotional mastery. This work is truly about empowerment, taking your life into your own hands as you dissolve resentment, guilt, shame, and self-doubt, feelings all humans experience. Here you reclaim the power to say, no one or thing or situation can make me feel any way that does not feel authentic to who I am. You choose. You have the power. You are the creator of your reality. And as you allow these parts of yourself that feel limited to come forward and be seen, you get to know yourself on a whole new level. You heal the emotional pain body through deep self-exploration and healthy emotional expression. You then get to reside in your all-knowing, wise, loving, authentic self, accepting all parts of yourself. And you can act from this place in the world. And here, magic happens. Here you can truly know yourself. You can be embodied. So what do I mean when I say healthy emotional expression? Well, a few things. First, acknowledging the emotions that are present as they come forward. Accepting that it's okay to feel them, not blaming your feelings on yourself, somebody else, or a situation, and not throwing your emotions at yourself, anyone else, or a situation. We're really just allowing them to move through you and trusting your body's wisdom, feeling, learning how to respond from your place of center is much better than reacting from your place of hurt. So why is this important? And why is it my passion? Because this is how we thrive in life, and I want to see you thrive. Here, you remain firm in your authentic identity and have an unwavering sense of self-trust. You live intentionally and on purpose, in alignment with your inner direct knowing, and you lead from your heart. This is emotional mastery. This is what is here for you. You reign in the mastery of your own spiritual dominion, and it's about feeling and taking action. They go hand in hand. And so as you feel and come into greater communion with yourself and your body's wisdom, then you can step into your greatness. You can take mindful action and make self-honoring choices to achieve anything that your heart desires. To truly allow yourself to be the limitless being that you are. Nothing can stand in your way of greatness. I believe in you, and you are here to make your divine contribution. So if you're ready to know or curious to know if this transformation is for you, then you're surely in the right place. In part 1 of this video series, I'd like to talk about where the root of all our negative emotions come from and the programs that we run on a daily basis that may be hurting and harming us. So let's start with this. When we are not living in an emotionally masterful place, we are running a program. What do I mean by this? We now understand that from the ages of 0 to 7, your brain is in a theta wave state. And what that means is that you are in a state where you're essentially in a hypnotic trance. We're simply observing the reality we're born into. Most of us are born into situations where there is social conditioning, thought patterns, and belief patterns that we are then absorbing from our environment and is becoming part of our view of ourselves, our view of reality. And by the time that we are 7, so many of these programs are in place that we still will have bits and pieces of our personality, of our individuality that come through if they were socially acceptable. But a large portion of who and what we are, our awareness and our consciousness starts to get shut down. And we're going to be running some of that social conditioning rather than being conscious. We start to conform ourselves to societal expectations or trying to live up to what our parents or caregivers or adults in our environment told us was good and right. We adopt this programming that tells us this is how people are supposed to act, and this is how I'm supposed to act, and this is what's supposed to happen in life, and these are the things that aren't supposed to happen in life. So that when any of that doesn't happen, we suffer. In this is the root of all emotional pain. Rather than being in a state where we are simply experiencing reality, observing reality, witnessing reality, with the understanding that everything that's happening is just what's happening, and we are capable of processing life and learning from it, experiencing life, and essentially being joyful in any experience. We have this idea or this judgment that there are good things and bad things, there are things that should or should not be happening, and therefore when things that we have decided shouldn't happen, we become divorced from reality. And from this separation, we experience pain and suffering. So our parents, for example, or whoever had a hand in raising us, may have had all of these ideas of what reality is supposed to be like, what you as a child is supposed to be like, how we as a society are supposed to function. And you come in as a child being a fractal of the divine, a unique individual with a unique perspective that is never going to fit into any particular box. And you come into the world fully in alignment with reality, fully in alignment with nature, and you're just going along with whatever you are and whatever is happening. And as a child, you express yourself as, this is my genuine state. This is who I am and what I'm doing. And what we learn over time is that if that doesn't align with the programming that our society has, we will be shamed. You'll be rejected or traumatized, and inside of that is an abandonment wound. As soon as we don't live up to the expectations of our parents or teachers or whoever was raising us, we adopt a fear as children that we will be abandoned by them. And whenever we are running a program, we are in a fear state. If our parents and the adults in our environment were in a fear state and never questioned their programming, it's likely that whenever we acted out of alignment with their programming, their automatic response was to punish us in some way. And because we're so young, we're just taking it in and absorbing all of this, and because of the fragile state that we're in as children, we think that because I need my parents to survive, if my parents don't love me or if they abandon me, then I won't survive. So we start to have these places in our lives where we have emotional wounding. We start to take on this imprinting of this emotional wound of, I'm just not good enough. If we didn't live up to our parents or teachers' expectations in some way, which again are usually so out of alignment with reality. The message that most of us got from that was, I'm not good enough. And again, because we're in this fragile state, this becomes part of our programming and part of our self-image until we learn emotional mastery and break free from the programming. So if you had an experience, for example, as a child of not having enough, perhaps everyone else had a certain toy which you didn't get to have because your parents told you it was too expensive, that will likely sear into your consciousness and your being that there isn't enough money, that you don't have what you need, and that you can't have the abundance that everyone else has. That is going to be part of your self-image, and it's not your fault. But it's very powerful and very subtle, you see. It's important to know that running a program causes us emotional pain. When we are running programs, we are in a state of fear. It can be no other way. Negative emotions are created where we developed a false belief about ourselves and took that on. And unless we were taught to question that programming, what will happen is that we will just repeat those belief systems over and over again without being aware of it. All we know is that we don't like this negative emotion. We don't like all of these harmful patterns that we do over and over again. But we just can't seem to get ourselves out of it. We can't seem to change. We try really hard to. We do all the self-improvement work and read all the books and go to all the workshops, and yet still we have the same life, the same emotional feelings, and the same triggers, sometimes for years. We tell ourselves that we're doing something different when we're really just doing the same thing in a different way. And this is why we find ourselves in the same kind of experiences, the same kind of relationships, maybe working the same kind of jobs, having the same kind of experience inside of your body, the same health issues. And there may be variations. We may leave this relationship or leave this job, but the patterns are the same because we are unconsciously running a program. And if we want to change our reality, we have to start by changing our program, my love. So, to bring all of this together, today we talked about our programming and how from our childhood we are being conditioned. Our realities, how we're going to live our lives, what our perceptions of ourselves and our realities are going to be. And for many of us, this is out of alignment with who we are as unique individuals. And from that, we get emotional wounding. We are forced to choose between being our authentic selves and being rejected by our environment because of the programming of everyone around us. So we can almost think of it as all of these wounds that we carry inside of us are rejection wounds, where love went away in our perception. And this is a very important key to understand because as we move into emotional mastery, what we're going to realize is that all emotional mastery is learning how to bring unconditionally loving presence to every moment. This is what reintegrates all of the abandoned parts of you, all of the emotionally traumatized parts of you, bringing all the parts of our soul that are stuck in the traumatic past to your present. This is what emotional mastery is, learning how to be in a state of complete loving awareness and showing up in the world and in our lives from that place. So, now that you've gained clarity around where your emotional patterns come from, uncovering why you're stuck in the loops that you're on, in this next video, I'm going to talk about how to finally break free of the stories that have bound you from truly being you so that you can become a conscious co-creator of your life. This is what is here for you. Greater emotional freedom is on the other side. So until then, thank you so much for your exploration, and I'll see you in a bit.